this idea that you should talk to a trusted adult that is not your parent about your genitalia and your feelings about your genitalia and your stated identity surrounding your genitalia. I mean, progressive ideology.
Where the f does gender ideology have anything to do with talking to strangers about your genitals? Like, can you stop being creepy, lady? Nobody's doing this. Again, gender and sex are separate things. They're different. A gender identity actually isn't about genitalia necessarily. So when you say, oh, talking about gender means you're talking about genitalia, you're the one being creepy. Because you're ignorant and stupid and a product of incest, you are now being... Mattel recently came under a bit of controversy after they accidentally linked a site on their Wicked doll packaging. Now, they have said this is an error, it was a misprint, it was a total mistake, and they have since apologized for this. This is a little bit more information on what actually happened. Mattel accidentally linked a site on the Wicked doll packaging. Barbie producer Mattel has issued an apology after customers spotted its Wicked edition dolls listed an adult website on the packaging. The toy merchandise mistakenly directed customers to the homepage of a Wicked Pictures pornographic movie studio instead of the correct wickedmovie.com. Mattel quickly issued a statement saying, "We deeply regret this unfortunate error and are taking immediate action to remedy this. Parents are advised that the misprinted incorrect website is not appropriate for children." Mattel said the dolls, which have been released to coincide with Universal's film adaptation of the Tony Award-winning musical, are primarily sold in the US, and that the error was a, quote, misprint. It's unclear how many of the mislabeled toys, which are advertised for children aged 4 and up, have already been distributed to stores. And as you can see here, this is the doll, but then on the back, it goes to www.wicked.com, when it really should have been www.wickedmovie.com. This was quite an embarrassing mistake for Mattel, of course. But here's the twist. As I'm telling you this, I'm sure you're thinking, okay, this is just like a company made a mistake, or there was a misprint, or this was just an accidental, innocent error. Conservatives, however, they have a mission. They're on a mission to make sure that they come out the victims of every single goddamn scenario. And they are making sure to hop right on the victim train for this one. That's right. Allie Beth Stuckey, or as I like to call her, Allie B. Sucky, literally is trying to push the idea that this mistake was done on purpose. Truly, the mind boggles how any human being that fucking retarded could even function in day-to-day life. Nonetheless, here we are. And she has really dedicated this idea that for some reason, a company that sells toys for kids would intentionally link to a pornographic website which would only negatively impact their business. Somehow she thinks that was done intentionally. I like how conservatives, they're like the biggest fans of capitalism, but they also then just forget that capitalism exists. If you scroll down to the comments, you'll see here, mistake. I don't believe that for a minute. It has to be deliberate. Ah, yes, because as we know, large corporations never make mistakes.
Wicked dolls, and I mean Wicked, the movie that is based on the musical, that is based on the book. This packaging had a thing on the back that actually linked to a porn site, rather than the site that it was supposed to link to, which of course was something about the doll. So here's the summary of this, and what they're saying was,
not even her initial fucking statements are correct. The website was not supposed to link to anything to do with the doll, idiot. It was supposed to have something to do with the movie that the doll was associated with. Again, I know that's like a kind of who cares, but it's going to matter in a little bit because this person is a lying piece of shit. And it's going to become more and more apparent as we continue watching her content. It's funny too because her whole shtick is that this was somehow done intentionally. Never for a second think that this is a stupid woman right here. She is fucking stupid, but it's all intentional. she is the one that knows exactly what she's doing.
It's just a giant mistake. So Mattel printed a porn website link on the back of its Wicked movie-themed dolls geared toward young girls ages 4 and older, rather than the link to the website for the movie. The error gained attention on social media over the weekend, where numerous users shared photos of the URL printed on the back of the boxes, featuring characters from the movie adaptation of Wicked that's hitting theaters.
Oh, Libs of TikTok is also stoking the conspiracy theory flames. Crazy how these mistakes keep happening. What? Yeah. I legitimately am concerned for my own well-being knowing that I share oxygen with pieces of trash this fucking stupid. This is actually concerning to me. So, again, conservatives conveniently forget that capitalism is a thing. In capitalism, you want to produce as much shit for as cheap as possible. That means it's more likely that errors can occur. Oh, what do you know? Crazy how these mistakes keep happening. Yeah, it's almost like this country mass produces a fuck ton of shit. So a couple mistakes here and there really isn't that surprising. Wow, okay. I'm struggling already and I'm not even a minute in, but okay. Whew.
This month, by the way, as an aside, I am not going to see this movie. I loved Wicked the musical. My mom and I would listen to the soundtrack and sing to the soundtrack every day going to school when I was in middle school. I loved the musical. I loved the music, but this movie does not look good. It doesn't look true to the story. The talent is going to be nothing like Idina Menzel.
Why is she talking so slowly? And I don't mean slow like retarded. I mean slow like she's like, so Mattel printed this label that... Speak faster.
So it's supposed to link to Universal Pictures official Wicked.
Also, we're going to turn up the speed.
So it's supposed to link to Universal Pictures official wickedmovie.com page, but instead it leads to Wicked.com. This is an adult film site. I do not recommend testing this out for yourself. In a statement sent to the Associated Press, Mattel said it was, quote, made aware of a misprint on the packaging of the Mattel Wicked collection dolls, which it said are primarily sold in the U.S. We deeply regret this unfortunate error and are taking immediate action to remedy this, the company added. I cannot imagine something like this slipping through the cracks at a place like Mattel. You've got so many hands and so many eyes that a product like this has to go through.
Sometimes there being so many hands, so many eyes, and so many people involved is exactly the kind of scenario that leads to errors like that slipping under the cracks.
This is also a very...
Also, what does she think is their goal here? That Mattel, who wants to sell dolls to small kids, is secretly trying to encourage small kids who can happen to read that teeny tiny little text at the far fucking corner of the box to go and look at pornography? Because why?
This is also a very evil misprint.
Okay, that's one way to describe things. You know when your printer just breaks down and it stops printing properly? Some would say that's inconvenient. I, for one, call that evil.
Because it's not just like it got sent to some like unpurchased domain and it was just, you know, a letter off or something like this. This was an entire word off, and you would think that there would be someone employed at Mattel or someone on the Wicked production end of things that would have tested the URL. That's not just a small thing.
Or is her whole point just, you'd think it would be obvious, so that's why they did it on purpose? There are sometimes embarrassing errors that happen with mass-produced products. This is the same reason why people get glass in their apple cider or whatever. That's fucking embarrassing. How did that happen? But it happens sometimes. Manufacturing errors occur. It's not that surprising, and only a brain-dead fucking Neanderthal would actually be this intent on trying to build a conspiracy theory around a pretty obvious mistake.
Monday morning, most of these Wicked dolls appear to be no longer available or not in stock on sites like Amazon, Target, and Mattel's website. In the meantime, the company is advising consumers who already have the dolls to discard their packaging or obscure the link and contact Mattel's customer.
Why are you reading this to us, Allie Beth Sucky? Why are you reading us information that actively works against your argument? If Mattel was trying to do this, why would they then tell parents to not go to that website? If their goal was to get everybody to go to that website, why would they then tell everybody everybody to not go to that website.
For more information, first of all, I don't even know why there needs to be any kind of URL on the packaging of a kid's toy. I just don't think it's necessary. We already put up the picture, but we'll put up the picture again. This was...
What? She doesn't think it's necessary to put a website on the back of a package? Okay, well, thankfully you're not the executive at Amazon, you fucking idiot. However, it makes perfect sense, actually, because, again, capitalism. It's this pesky little thing that conservatives have completely forgot existed. If people are selling dolls that are associated with a movie, they're going to want to encourage people to check out a website to further engage people in that movie. That's what an advertisement is. I actually am like astounded at this degree of just stupidity. Like, I never thought I'd have to argue with a conservative as to why companies will put websites on the back of their packaging. Do you fucking idiots have anything better to bitch about? Allie bitch sucky.
You'll remember a couple of years ago, the episode that we did on the Balenciaga.
Also, just to further add on here, this is a doll for like 4-year-olds, 5-year-olds. I have a 5-year-old daughter. I have bought her dolls multiple times, and I can tell you that not once did she ever look at the back and say, can we go to this website that I read at the very fucking bottom next to the barcode? Like, what 5-year-old even knows really about like websites and how to go on the internet, really?
A scandal that is a big brand that has been advertised, promoted by lots of celebrities, especially Kim Kardashian, and they were selling bears and putting bears on their models on the runway that were dressed in bondage gear, so like BDSM, which is like violent sex gear, and these toys seem to be targeting children. And in fact, if I remember correctly, children were in some of these ads with these kinds of strange, kinky BDSM
What
bears.
is this? Okay, maybe that's a little bit inappropriate. I'll give you that. This has nothing to do with Mattel. This is like old ass drama that happened years ago. So wait. Because one company completely unrelated to Mattel did something that kind of turned out sort of creepy, that means that now Mattel is doing something creepy. I was hopeful, at least, that most human beings had evolved past the chimp brain, but then I encounter people like Allie bitch sucky. It was founded in Spain. Its headquarters are in France. Mattel is a US company. So she's comparing a French company to a US company, both of which had some controversies here and there, and saying, it's all actually connected, guys. It's all a big conspiracy, man.
Again, like, what are the odds that these major companies are placing porn or porn themes into the hands and eyes?
It wasn't porn or porn themes, really. It was literally an accident. It was a misprint on the back of a package. It said wicked.com instead of wickedmovie.com, okay?
I think that we understand at this point that many of the powers that be really like the idea of sexualizing children. That is what is behind this entire gender ideology movement.
Wait, now she's talking about the quote-unquote gender ideology movement? And they have a goal to sexualize our kids? Then why did they tell people not to go to the website? Why did they retract the mistake? Why did they bring attention to the mistake? Why did they confirm the existence of the mistake and tell people actively not to go there? This is so stupid. It's making me hurt. It's hurting my brain at minimum because of how fucking retarded this person is. And I've never heard somebody make this many connections and leaps to try to establish this flimsy of a conspiracy.
Places in libraries and curriculum, this idea that you should talk to a trusted adult that is not your parent about your genitalia and your feelings about your genitalia and your stated identity surrounding your genitalia. I mean, progressive ideology.
Again, what does the doll with a misprint have to do with, one, gender ideology, and two, where the fuck does gender ideology have anything to do with talking to strangers about your genitals? Like, can you stop being creepy, lady? Nobody's doing this. Again, gender and sex are separate things. They're different. A gender identity actually isn't about genitalia necessarily. So when you say, oh, talking about gender means you're talking about genitalia, you're the one being creepy because you're ignorant and stupid and a product of incest. you are now being fucking creepy and pervy. That's embarrassing at minimum.
Seeks to destroy. It seeks to destroy innocence. It seeks to destroy beauty. It seeks to destroy truth. And therefore, it also seeks to destroy the family. And we already see in places like California, legislation has been passed that cuts ties between parents and children when the parent won't go along with the new stated identity of...
Let's look it up. How much you want to bet it's a lie? Lawsuit centers on a rule requiring school staff to notify parents if their children change their gender identification or pronouns.
Ties between... We already see in places like California, legislation has been passed that cuts ties between parents and children when the parent won't go along with the new stated identity of their child.
I don't know what she's talking about. I think it's actually just about them not wanting to tell parents necessarily about kids changing their gender, which again is not the same thing with cutting ties with parents.
Interviewed some of those parents whose children have been taken out of their custody because they refused to put their teenage daughter on hormone blockers. And so that's what progressivism does.
All right, we'll see that now. California took away a widow's teenage daughter to transition her. Why are we not getting actually any real information? This is a super ultra conservative website. And literally the whole reason it happened was actually because the daughter gave details of their time in foster care and their accusations of emotional abuse against their mother. Then later they went back on the claims. Even that doesn't make a lot of sense. It wasn't just like, well, she wants to transition, but I'm not so sure about it. No, this is obviously a child that was like, my mom is abusing me. I feel emotionally abused. I'm being ignored. My identity is being trampled all over.
I just wouldn't be surprised if some nefarious person used this channel to introduce children to pornography. And maybe I'm wrong. Again,
You are most certainly 100% wrong. Holy shit. You are totally wrong. Again, why would anybody do this? What is their evil goal here? Just some sick freak wants kids to look at porn? That's where the big conspiracy ends? I am officially exhausted with this person. I'm not watching any more of her video. She is just too fucking stupid, and I genuinely feel sorry that I have to even share oxygen with this person.